Sheriff, you mentioned it is Military Spouse Appreciation Week. And your wife, Kendall, supported you through your entire military career.
Yep.
I know, it doesn't have to be Military Spouse Appreciation Week for you to shout her out and for you to show her some love on that. You do that often.
Sure.
But yeah, talk to me about you and Kendall's relationship through that. That had to be a tough time for both of you, right?
Yeah, and there's so many special, people, men and women out there, of course, spouses of military people that are currently serving and veterans and stuff, and that have been deployed to war. Of course, my son is one of those now too, as well, because he's deployed as we speak. And it's just, we sat down one time. We've been married 33 years in July, so she's lived my whole military career, my whole law enforcement career. Wow. We sat down one day and we're like, I think it was 3.5 years we had been apart where I'd been deployed somewhere in the world. Wow. So we sat down, we figured out the math. That's not including like stateside schools and stuff that I attended and all that good stuff. So just special people, of course, in our life and it's a special person, by the way. I mean, it's like, I remember yesterday, December 27th of 2002, we physically were celebrating Christmas. Our kids were out front playing. I got a phone call on my cell phone, and it was my first sergeant, from my military unit. He says, hey, we've been activated. We're heading to war. He said, we need you to report tomorrow morning. It was the 27th of December. The next morning on the 28th, I packed my life up, and I left, and I was back in 15 months.
Whoa, that's a long time,
it's kind of crazy. I mean, so there was a couple of times, of course, I saw them. They would come see me at Fort Stewart, where we were deploying from, and Army Hunter Airfield. But, I mean, physically gone for 15 months. It's like our life just went upside down, and maybe it's better that way sometimes. There's other times, of course, when I was up at Fort Bragg, when you're on what they call Rapid Deployment Force 1, 2, and 3, you have to deploy within 12 hours, basically. So you're all palletized, everything's packed, sitting on the green ramp, the runway, and then for 30 days, you basically are living in the barracks. You can't go anywhere. You're kind of locked down. Then RDF 2 is you can go kind of around the post area, off posts, kind of in the state, and then RDF 3 you can kind of leave the post and stuff. So just remember those days. I was actually home on RDF 1. I was supposed to be at Fort Bragg, but I flew home to see Kendall when we were dating back in the day. And I got a phone call that Saddam Hussein had invaded Kuwait. Remember those days?
Yes, sir.
So
when my dad got deployed.
Got a little bit of trouble, but we called back to our first sergeant and said, we came home, of course, to party in St. Augustine. So they flew, airlines were flying us all back. And then within, I think, 18 hours, or 20-something hours, we were actually boots on ground in Saudi Arabia. So just special people in our lives. And again, it's men and women, it's children, and it's not suffering, it's sacrifice that we raise our right hand and do it. And I would do it all over again, And I think it makes a marriage stronger, I'll be honest with you, because she gets it, she understands it. So if I'm gone a day or two working homicide, back when I was working homicide, those were easy days. I'm in the state. Yeah. And again, my son, currently, he's gone, he's home. The poor kid, he flies for the United States military counter drug operations. So he's gone all the time. So just special people, and I couldn't do it without her.
Did you do anything like super sentimental during those times when you were away? Like my dad would handwrite letters. That was his thing.
Yeah,
he loved to do that. What kind of things did you do to keep the flame alive with Kendall?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, because there was certain times, in my last deployment in 2003 and 2004, we went 30 days without speaking just because of our movement. They didn't want to track our movement, our operational movement. But I would actually, remember those little disposable cameras? Yeah. You open them up, and you take these pictures and you send them to them.
Yeah.
So what I would do is actually in 2003, 2004, she would send me a few. I'd take photos so my kids and my wife understood what I was doing, that dad wasn't away partying per se.
Right, true.
So I did that. And then also too, I handwrote a lot of letters too, and just, kind of trying what the day's work is. And we had satellite phones. So I would always call her before mission and just say, hey, we're heading out somewhere. Yeah. And I'll call you when we get back. And some days it would be days on end she wouldn't hear from us. And and she always knew if you didn't see something on the news and we were alive, And then, of course, as we did, I lost one of my soldiers, and Jeff Warshow got killed in action with me on July 6th in 2003. And all she saw was the news. We couldn't call. We were on operation in central Baghdad, and things went south on us, and Jeff Warshow was killed with me. And so just things like that. I mean, because they lived by the TV back then, they still live, because you're just waiting, hoping every day that another 24 hours goes through and there's not a death. Well, back then it was a Florida soldier was killed, and that was on all national news, and she saw it. And I didn't get a chance we just couldn't call. There was too much chaos going on. And, Jeff got medevaced back into Kuwait out of central Baghdad. And we thought he was alive at the time, but he was shot in the head. But just crazy things go on in our lives. And but it's just special people. And it's a great, I love going on a military base, an Army military base. There's something about that false sense of security. And that people in uniform and, the regulation haircuts and, clean shaven. It's just something that, of course, I love to be a part of, and I'm honored to be a part of, and truly blessed to. But I mean, I couldn't do it without Kendall. She was been a rock star through this stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Centurion
Yeah.
human being. Love that lady.
Yeah, blessed.
I never heard all that story. That's wild, man.
I got more. We can sit down.
Yeah, all right, one day we'll do a whole
I
show.
don't drink, so it's no fun. No
That would be an interesting actually sit down to do. Just talking about your service, what you went through, what the family went through. Because I think a lot of people don't understand. I told these guys recently, for some reason, my YouTube algorithm has been sending me GoPro footage of individuals in combat.
Yeah.
From Ukraine and things like this. So been watching some of that, and boy, obviously you don't even get a feel for what it's like out there just from watching these videos. But I've got a totally different perspective just from seeing that firsthand perspective of what it's like, hearing people shooting at you all the time.
Sure.
I mean, it's just people can't even understand
and
it.
I think you and I were talking, Pete, and I when people attack my military benefits, they're idiots, by the way. And I'm not saying that I deserve them or not, but this is how the military takes care of their down the road. It takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
But I wish I could just take some of these people that talk stuff about, getting military benefits and come live with me in my shoes, for 15 months over in.
It wouldn't even take that. Give them 15 minutes and they'd be scared out of their shoes. And they'd be ready to go back.
But again, I don't cry poor mouth about that. They want to tap my military benefits, and because of what the VA gives me, I mean that's their prerogative. But go walk in the shoes of our military servicemen and women that serve all over the world, of course, and serve stateside here, and you'll figure out, why the military takes care of us.
They deserve those benefits.
And of course, we were on
Probably
peanuts.
more.
I have to laugh because we were at Fort Bragg, and I make a comment all the time to Kendall that she married me when I had nothing. I mean, I was a private United States Army making nothing. And people don't even know what WIC means, women, infant, and children. Every Friday, we got free bread, egg, cheese, and milk. Yeah. And people don't understand that. And that's what we were soldiers fighting in war, could carry a rifle and deploy anywhere in the world. But yet we couldn't afford to pay our bills at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Yeah. And we had qualified for WIC and food stamps and everything else. But I would go back and live it again because we have so much life experience. But that girl married me when we had nothing. I mean, I was
so you're
private.
saying your humor really sold the deal, right?
I don't know what the hell it was.
Personality.
I don't know what it was, Davey. Yeah. It sure wasn't my good looks. I'm sure it was. I was straight entertainment.
Well,
back
we weren't even gonna say it was your good looks. So
No,
we weren't even thinking that.
The charmer over here.
That could be a story by itself one day. We'll bring her back on.
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a great
She's got some stuff to say because now her son's serving.
Right.
So but and then the other day, we can't get a hold of him all the time, so we'll text him just to make sure he's okay. But he doesn't text and fly, especially in military helicopter.
Sure.
He's just that guy. He's very, very safe. And of course, he's a pilot in charge. So he won't text us back. And then sometimes he'll just say, hey, I'm just flying. So now he's got a little thing on there. He just clicks an app and says, I'm flying.
Auto response.
As long as we know you're alive, we don't care.
Yeah.
But anyways, truly blessed. And it was an honor, privilege. And I got a beautiful wife out of it.
So I want to talk about what was in our headline here today. And that is this update on a body that was found in Crescent Beach 39 years ago.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive that, this is a case you guys are still working on at the sheriff's office, and you have identified this body that was found. Talk to me about how that happens 40 years later. What kind of evidence do you still have that you're able to use?
Yeah.
And what is this new DNA technology that allowed you guys to solve this?
Genetic genealogy it's relatively new. 2018, it kind of started coming to fruition, being used forensically by law enforcement in investigations for basically solving unidentified remains that we had in our custody and control. It's kind of like going back to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, right? Because a lot of that stuff was identified, of course, through myocardial DNA, DNA samples from loved ones, which is the genetic part of it. But anyways, this case was 1985. I will tell you this, our men and women of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office that work in our major case unit and our forensics unit, our evidence unit, they do not give up. I mean, the last thing we want to do is not have closure for a loved one. And I'm not saying that detective work was bad back then, but we didn't have what we have nowadays.
Right.
But to solve a case from 1985, on Mary Alice Pultz, now that was missing and kind of written off per se.
Sure.
But so with that, again, forensics genetics, of course, is something that's been around a little bit longer because of the forensic side of the house, of course, the genetic part, of course, we have, let's just say, a body on autopsy. We have the tissue, we have the samples. This was something, of course, I studied when I was in homicide for a long time. And then now, fast forward, think how many people are so interested in their own genetics, their family genetics, their genealogy of where they came from, who they're related to,
Sometimes it makes me nervous, though.
I have to agree with you. But what's happening, though, is you're getting a lot of people that are feeding into a database voluntarily.
Right.
So we're not tapping into that database. What we're doing is we're tapping into the companies that have that database, that have the permission to use it, because it's technically their property. So what we're doing is we're basically taking the forensic genetic side of the house, we're using it with the genetic side of the house, and then doing the genealogy, basically, research, putting it all together. with a little bit of old fashioned, police work, going back and looking through these cases and sitting down. And in this particular case, this is Sergeant Gene Tolbert did a phenomenal job. These guys are passionate. They just want to bring answers. And the phone call when you make to a family member saying, we know this is your mother, it gives a little bit of closure. We do have some work to do in this case. I say our major crimes unit, they're doing a lot of work on it. We believe the suspect who was charged in another murder, who was on death row in Georgia, has actually died since then, so we can't kind of go down that road, but everything is kind of pointing back to him, and it seems like that was his modus operandi back in the day.
So what does the emotion look like in a family when they find out that 40 years later, you know what I mean? Like, does that change the response?
Sure. It's funny. You think about, 1985, think what you were doing in 1985, of course. And
I was one.
Okay, I was not. But do you remember what you were doing?
Oh yeah, totally, clearly. I was telling my mom I don't want to wear a diaper anymore, and that I want to be my own man. I'm ready to move out.
Definitely. Tarzan.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, Davey, you look back and think about. Of course, I never want to. I can't be in their shoes. But you think of somebody missing the family member since 1985, and you learn to move on, but never accept moving on, and always waiting for that phone call, from the sheriff's office or from whoever, going, "Hey, we think we got a tip in this." And I think they've waited on that forever. Now, there was some contact down the road in the years prior to, as far as like, we kind of knew who the suspect was, but didn't know who, who Mary Alice Poltz was at the time. So with that being said, the phone call was emotional. Of course, it's two of her kids that are grown adults and have their own kids and their own kids kind of thing. So it was very powerful that it just shows you that we just don't give up. And these cases don't always go unsolved. We're proud of our cold case, and what we're doing now with this genetic genealogy stuff is new, 2018, and what they're doing with it. And more people are pouring into this thing with their buccal swabs and stuff and putting their own DNA in this system. So it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's just so impressive to see you guys working on something like this and making progress in case. I mean,
Sure.
a lot of people just assume that, well, if we're not talking about it in the news and you guys aren't putting out press releases, that you're not working on it. But that's not the case at all.
Not at all.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah,
very
cool. Especially when you have bones, and of course you saw the video, and Taylor Levesque, I'm sure if you met her yet, but we hired her from First Coast News, and she was an investigative reporter, young kid, came from the University of Florida, criminology degree, journalist degree, and now, she just did a good piece that really sold it and marketed it of what our men and women did. So pretty cool, pretty powerful. Yeah. Exciting times.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hey, it's National Correction Officer Appreciation Week, right?
Yeah, it is.
I know you're always big on not only recognizing your men and women that are out there in the streets, in the cars, but also in your jails, in your correction systems, behind the comms desks.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your men and women who are in there in that corrections world. Man, that's a different world. That's a world, again, that a lot of people don't get to see.
It is. It's another special person, just like, United States military member and their spouses and stuff like that. It's just special people. But we have 143 deputy sheriffs that work in our jail. Last year we had over 6,200 basically admissions or arrests that came in through our booking process in there. Right now our population is kind of not really low, but it's actually sustainable, meaning that, we can actually do some things like, mental health awareness and substance abuse like we talked about in the past. But these men and women are on shift work just like the rest of our deputy sheriffs. They're paid the same amount of money as a starting deputy sheriff. They're in the same uniform. They go through the same training. The only difference is they take a path of corrections as opposed to a path of patrol, per se.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's the only difference. But again, we just have some amazing men and women there. A lot of them came from other places around the state of Florida, Department of Corrections, Jacksonville, Putnam, Clay, Flagler County, kind of surrounding counties area. So what they do is it's care, custody, and control. But it's not just that. It's actually investing into our community because they are a community, meaning that the people that serve time in our gated community, they're part-time residents, just being honest with you. So with that, again, it's investing in them and opening your hearts and your minds and, being a little bit innovative. If we want to do a outreach program, a pre-arrest program or a pre-trial program. But also, too, those deputy sheriffs guard all of our judges here, our circuit judges and our county court judges. They also protect our courthouse and all of our Board of County Commissioner buildings. So just a bigger job. They transport, of course, all of our inmates that are, of course, from other institutions or belong somewhere else. It's just a much bigger picture. But there's some of the most. We added 2 brand new canine dogs, which we talked about, Cora and Raven, to our jail. So it's just a special place that truly is trying to take care of people that are temporarily going through the system somehow or another. So just amazing men and women that do a great job for me. I'm so proud of them, and we have had a great week thanking them with meals being donated, some coffee and donuts and some pastries came in. And today, the last 2 days, we've been cooking across the street from here.
I saw that. Yeah, I was wondering what was going on.
So feeding
out
our
there.
people,
Yeah.
just feeding our people, just to say, hey, we simply appreciate you. But also too, I don't want to forget, there's another 100 people that are work behind the scenes that are not sworn employees in the jail. So, we have about 250, 260 employees that actually work in the jail for that care, custody, and control of all these people that are temporarily passing through our gated community. So, special people.
Yeah, very
great people.
Yeah,
and some of them actually go to the road, by the way. So I started my career in a jail.
Okay.
My brother-in-law started his career in the jail, so I understand it, I respect it, and I appreciate what they do.
Well, I think our friend Mel Lewis started his career in the jail as well.
Mel did, yeah.
I knew Mel when he was first starting that
Mel's
job.
awesome, buddy.
And boy, he was so excited to be part of the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
I mean, he really, really was. And to see where he is now and what he's doing now.
Sure.
And I love his work with you guys' torch run.
Yeah, our special needs kids,
man. And obviously that's personal for him, and
Yes,
he
sir.
just loves doing that. And
Yeah.
we love Mel and having it. But it is so cool how people start in one place and they progress and they
Yeah.
reach goals in different areas.
Yeah.
Man. And you guys are open to obviously promoting from within.
Sure,
and,
we
and
are.
getting people in
Yeah.
places where they love being.
In a perfect world, really, if I could take everybody and they work 2 to 3 years in corrections, you learn those people skills. You have to deal with every race, creed, color, religion, sexual orientation, and age, but you have to do it with your mouth. So it's a lot of techniques of de-escalation. You may have the tool belt on, but the tool belt is empty. The gun's in the locker, the bullets are in the locker. So
Right.
there's a lot of tools you have, but really it's how you handle people with your mouth, the way you treat people. So if you take a deputy sheriff from the jail 2 or 3 years and put them on the road, I guarantee you their use of force, they're just everything. It's not better than everybody else, but it's just they have mastered those skills to survive in a jail environment. Sure.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
Speaking of Torch Run, that's coming up soon. So I'm just saying.
June
right?
1st, right?
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
June 1st. Yeah.
Okay.
June
Wow.
1st. Yeah, actually, my wife told me Kendall told me to put that out because she's on
Just
the.
text me.
Oh, did she? She's so
like,
awesome.
make sure he says it.
She's so awesome. Yeah,
so
I
good.
physically was put.
That's great.
Because she'll believe Davey, not me, but LEO Torch Run right here, Davey.
No, it is
Okay,
there.
it is
Kendall.
written.
Thank you,
It
Kendall.
is written there.
But
Yes.
it was a beautiful organic segue, I gotta say. That was awesome.
I was like, I know. Actually, I saw you say, I'm like, that damn Kendall. She does pay attention.
Well, that's great. We got to get Mel in. Mel, if you're watching, we got to get you in.
He's
Yeah.
always watching. He's a loyal listener, buddy.
I
He's
know it,
always,
man.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
love him.
Yeah, you guys
Love
been
him.
good to us.
Let's see. You touched on mental health a little bit.
Yep.
As well. I know this is a big thing for you. So talk about kind of your approach to mental health within your organization since you've become sheriff, and kind of some of the programs you've instituted in the.
So I'll kind of
Sheriff's
talk
office.
internally first and then go externally, because I felt like if we can make our people, mentally fit, physically fit, financially fit, spiritually fit, we will provide a better service, of course, to our constituents. So with that, when I came on board here, I brought Dr. Tracy Hedgemanowski with me. She was at the Beach PD. She is a retired, she's a Navy veteran, and she came in as our agency psychologist for all of our people. This is not just for deputy sheriffs, because you got record clerks that are reading all the records of all these reports that we're
Right.
taking, these heinous and atrocious crimes.
Right, yeah.
And then, of course, you got people in our inmate facility who are dealing with, maybe an overdose or a suicide, or people that are mentally ill, or maybe just detoxing. And then, of course, you got our comms operator who never get that visual picture. They always get the sound, of the 911 calls.
Right,
So we
right.
brought her in here. We started doing station dogs. Of course, we have Simba and we have Sandy, our 2 station dogs, which they were honored this week along with the Jacksonville Sheriff TK Waters up in Jacksonville, with Canines for Warriors. They came from that house there. But we just started doing things, and financial fitness is also part of mental health fitness.
Yeah, I mean, because let's be honest, if you are stressing, it's one of the biggest
It's one of the biggest-
stressors we
by
face.
far. It is. So the goal was, and we just added a brand new app on our phones called Cortico. Cortico has everything you can imagine there: peer-to-peer, getting a hold of the sheriff, substance abuse, mental health, anything you can think of, financial counseling. All the resources we have now are accessible via app, and you also
Wow.
can push the phone at the bottom. It goes to basically a 911 operator per se.
Really?
That kind of triages your problems, and it's all confidential.
Wow.
Yes, we just started that about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months
That's
ago.
a great idea.
It's phenomenal, and really getting bringing faith-based services back in there. Every denomination, or doesn't matter what you believe in, but we want you to be able to believe in something, of course, and be able to participate in things. So just doing some things different. Our peer-to-peer was revamped, and the old EAP days are really just it's a check in the box. So I think on that
What's
end
EAP?
of it, EAP is the old Employee Assistance Program. It was basically a
Okay.
check in the box where employers would provide assistance to you for mental health, substance abuse.
Okay.
But it was call 1-800 number was probably in India, for goodness sakes. Who
It
knows?
wasn't as personal
It wasn't
as
as
this
personal,
and
correct.
connected.
Yeah, this is
Right.
in your face, you know. And again, just our wellness program is bringing Sigma in and catching people that have, you know, carotid issues, and just fixing people to make them, they want to come to work. And it's little things. I know this sounds crazy, but we're back to, we pray to God before every event, and or say a prayer to God before every event, and we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. That's just the way it is. Now, we don't ask you to pray the same. Maybe you don't believe in the same God. It's okay. Just take a moment of silence and be thankful for what you have in life.
Yeah.
So on
Meditate
that,
your life.
I
Yeah.
have to, and then
Yeah.
the pendulum swings the other way now. With that, you provide better services to the people that are calling and asking for assistance. So what we've done now too is we added a brand new a social worker to the car. It's called a co-responder program. We have a co-responder, Leslie Waller. She's phenomenal. She sits with one of our deputy sheriffs in a patrol car. She's a social worker, and she's now an expert. So we go to these cases where people are actually at their worst moments, their darkest times, whether it be alcohol abuse, substance abuse, or some type of mental illness. We got this social worker right now going, they don't need to go to jail. They need to go here. They need to go there. Let's get the resources they need for them. So that's a co-responder program we started about 6 months ago. It is phenomenal. So
That's awesome.
Trying to save lives. Yeah.
I got to tell you what's really interesting and impressive about your administration here is, you know, I have voted as an NPA or independent most of my life.
Right.
But I switched to Republican because I do that
Yep.
to vote for you.
That's crazy. Thank you.
However, if you take kind of the national temperature, you think about these things like mental health counseling, you think about social workers in vehicles, you think about body cams. These are issues that traditionally out there in the national sphere are considered issues that are on the left, right? I love how you take these issues that it's like, well, is this suggestion valid? Is the suggestion of body cams valid? Can we do this? And you do implement those things. You implement it if it works.
Sure.
If you think it's a good idea. And
But you
these
do it the
things
right
seem to
way,
be
though,
working.
too.
Right. And it's not along political lines is what I'm trying to say.
That's a good point too. You know, sometimes we're steered in the direction because people we don't stand on our own 2 feet as leaders. Well, me as a leader, I stand on my own 2 feet. And with that being said, what I say is I look at it from the 10,000-foot view going, how does it benefit everybody, not just me? How does it benefit our agency and the people that we serve? You know, and I think what we've done, of course, over the years is that this is the book, this is the doctrine version, this is the way the book is written, so you got to use the doctrine version. You can't do that. You've got to step back, listen to your people, watch how the response is, reaction is, and go, okay, that's not working. And who cares what the left, the right, the blue, the green, who cares what they say?
Yeah.
You got to do what's best for everybody. You know, I told Lady the other day that I don't care I don't care what you believe in. I'm still going to respond to your house. I don't have the autonomy to go to your house and go, are you Republican, Democrat? You know, I don't care what you are. We don't care what you are.
Yeah.
We provide a service to you regardless of what you look like, what you believe in. We don't care.
Yeah.
And with that being said, politics are politics. We'll get
You
to
believe in the freedom, and that's what you as a soldier.
Sure,
Yeah, absolutely.
sure. Yeah. So it's just, you know, and my staff comes to me with some phenomenal ideas that I didn't even think of going, this is how we can provide a better service to our people in St. Johns County. Let's do it. Try it.
Yeah.
Try it. And we do it. And if it fails, who cares? We get rid of it or revamp it, do something different. This job, I've never been an addictive person. And as you know, I don't smoke, I don't drink, but I have an addiction to my job. And I love coming to work. I can't wait to come to work tomorrow morning, this weekend, to see my people. I can't wait to walk through the jail and see my people. And I love my wife. I love everything else in my life. But man, I got a great thing going on with a great agency with a bunch of people that actually care.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling. This mental health stuff, it worries me.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching the suicide stuff. I'm seeing the pendulum swing where women are actually using guns to commit suicide, which wasn't a thing back at one time. So I'm kind of seeing this. I'm seeing this murder-suicide thing pick up, where people in their older ages of life just can't afford to survive anymore. Whether they're sick or whether their benefits have run out or they're no longer receiving money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, this mental health stuff is. I'm trying everything we can, and we'll listen to everybody we can to implement anything that we can do in place for our people or for the community to make us a better place.
I wish you did more for teens and driving.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, you are?
Teens and driving. They're not the best.
The teen driving.
I got another text.
That Davey. I love that, man. So we're from mental health over to teen driving.
Wow.
Here we
Hey.
go.
Beautiful
Mental
segue.
health driving. Yeah, we got 6 spots left, by the way, in our Florida Teen Challenge.
What is this?
So Florida Sheriff's Association has had a teen driving challenge, basically it serves 2 purposes here, because it sticks our deputy sheriffs in a car with a teen that's getting their driver's license. So you get that rapport going.
That's intimidating.
It's awesome, and we got a great partnership with actually Hanania actually Chevy has loaned us some cars because a lot of kids in the south part of the county and the north part of the county don't have cars.
Right.
So anyway, so we're doing this teen challenge. Our deputy sheriffs are running it all summer long. We did a little preempt during the spring break. And next thing you know, the floodgates are open and all these kids are signing up from our local schools here in St. Johns County.
Fun.
Yeah, so it'll be out to our driving track, controlled environment.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
It's like wear a helmet.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, super excited. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, man.